coming up this week on the Sold Into Purpose podcast.
I was always an excellent student, always getting good grades. And when I went to UA, it surprised me. I got some negative 3%. And I'm saying, this exists? I thought I was alone. I thought I must have been the most stupidest person in this world. Every great success story out there, they will tell you that failure is not the end. People can actually help you if you actually go out and seek help from people. You'll never know who you can help just by doing that, just dusting yourself off and get back out there again. That's what I did. That's what I've been doing.
Queen Akila leads the way, taking you to a brighter day. So grab your chair and your coffee. It's time for soul stories. Come vibe with me. Let's get sold into purpose. Yeah, we're sold into purpose. Hearts on fire, dreams take flight. Now walking boldly into light, though. Let's get sold into purpose. Yeah, we're sold into purpose.
Hi there, Purpose Seekers. Welcome back to another incredible episode of the Sold Into Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Akila Thompson, and as always, it is a privilege to share time and space with you. Well, it's the same set, but I'm in a different settings today because, as you all know, Jamaica, we experienced the Category 5 Melissa hurricane, and so we have sustained quite a bit of damage. Some persons have been dislocated. It has been really bad, but it has also been good because we have been receiving international help, and we thank the Lord for those who have sent us your prayers, for those who have reached out to check up on us, to see, hey, Akila, what's going on? We haven't seen you online in quite a bit, and so we're most grateful for those sentiments, and we pray that you'll continue to support those relief lines. So many persons are still in need, and I encourage you to just reach out and help one. But nevertheless, we have life, we have grace, we have the SIP podcast, and we know that God will definitely take us through this time. So please check in with your loved ones, and as always, thank you so much for staying connected with us. We're in season 5, and this is episode 9. Next week we'll have the season finale, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. As usual, we have an incredible soul story lined up just for you. And just in case you're wondering, what is the SIP podcast? This is a space where we bring you heartfelt stories, actionable steps, and valuable insights that you and I can use to live a more purposeful life. So if you've discovered your purpose, stick and stay with us, join our purpose community. And we thank you to all of our viewers and listeners so far. This season has been an incredible one. And just in case you've missed the previous episodes, all you have to do is to stay connected with us on all socials at Sold Into Purpose. That is SOULED into Purpose on all platforms. You may send us an email at soldintopurpose@gmail.com. That is SOULED into Purpose@gmail.com. Or you may also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Akila Thompson. That is AKEELIA Thompson on YouTube. Feel free to hit that notification bell so that you will know whenever we go live or when we drop a new episode.
Our trip to Peru was epic, and we're heading to Panama. Reserve your spot today or before December 28th. We're going to Panama.
So, for those who know and for those who don't know, we have the soul story coming up. But of course, we can't go any further without acknowledging the one who has given us the skills and capabilities to do what we do, the one who has sustained us through Hurricane Melissa and so much more, the one who has brought us to the 12th month of the year. Yes, it's the final month in the year, and we're so grateful for his mercies for 2025. For so many persons, it has been quite conflicting. For others, it has been extremely good. But regardless of whatever end of the spectrum you are on, we just want to give God the glory of the honor that he deserves. And for the fact that we're still here, we're grateful. There's still air in our lungs, and there is still another dimension for us to tap into. And so at this point in time, let us prepare our hearts for prayer. Father, we trust you with our journey. We trust you with our healing. And we trust you, mighty God, with our purpose. Bless this episode. Bless this season. Bless us for the rest of the year as we venture into 2026 by your grace. Father, we pray that every purpose seeker listening right now, that you'll just cover them, mighty God, even those who are watching and those who will watch this episode after it is aired. We decree and we declare that we move in power, we move in purpose, we move into another divine dimension by your grace and by your mercy. And we decree and we declare that everything that we did not see throughout this year, that we will see it in this final month, that you will just double up everything and roll it up into one and bless us beyond measures. Good measures pressed down, shaken together and running over. These and other unmentioned mercies we ask of you, King of glory, and we tell you thanks in Jesus' name. So, Purpose Seekers, today we won't be having the Grace series. I just want us to use this as a reflective episode, just to give thanks. We recently celebrated Thanksgiving for those of us in the USA, and maybe you're in the Caribbean and you participate in it too. Well, kudos to you, and we're just in that season of being thankful for life, for health, for strength, for his grace and his mercies, and I believe that that is enough. My book, A Fall from Grace, will be coming in the new year. Yes, things shift, but the mission is still the same. So stick and stay with us. I'm sure you don't want to miss that incredible experience and a couple surprises. Stick and stay with us because we have so many things coming up, and this will definitely help you to unlock your purpose. This season, we have so many things that we want to let you know so that you can tap into. If you go over to our website at souledintopurpose.com, you will find there that you can book a one-on-one session with me. Yes, that one-on-one coaching session to unlock your purpose. We also have our store, so feel free to go over and make your purchases. We also have some incredible books that you can purchase, and of course, my book will be coming out soon. So we would absolutely love your support. Coming up soon, we'll also have some ebooks as well as some courses that you can tap into, and we'll be having some online courses for persons who want to tap into that next level. Those courses will be available on replay so that you can go through a self-paced learning. So trust me, so much to come. So please ensure that you head right over to souledintopurpose.com, and we appreciate your support. Hey there, Purpose Seekers. Thank you so much for joining us for another incredible soul story. I'm your host, Akila Thompson, and today we have an incredible guest coming to us straight out of Jamaica. She is Mrs. Sasha-Gaye McTaggart-Francis, and she is one who believes in thriving, transformation, and of course, tapping into what we need to go to the next level. This is episode 9 in season 5, and she is here to advocate for change in life. So many things happen, perhaps we have to pivot, but at the end of the day, irrespective of the challenges, when God calls us to another measure, when God calls us in another direction, he is more than able to sustain us. Sasha's journey is one that is powerful, one that is filled with wisdom. She speaks about life, her failure, her victories, and just how the Lord is helping her to go to the next level at this particular point in time in her life. This is definitely the episode that will encourage you to prepare yourself for opportunities and also to embrace new perspectives and new journeys. So, purpose seekers around the globe, please help me to welcome Sasha-Gaye to the Sold into Purpose podcast. Hi there, Purpose Seekers. Thank you so much for joining us for another wonderful episode of the Soul into Purpose podcast. I'm your incredible host, Akila Thompson. And as always, it is a privilege to share time and a space with you. Here on Soul Stories, this is where we have healing, purpose, and all the good things. This is where it collides because we have our very impactful guests and they're here to provide us with practical insights and actionable steps on how you and I can live a more purpose-driven life. Today, it is no different. We have the incredible Mrs. Sasha-Gaye McTaggart-Francis, and she is an author, a coach, a speaker, a certified travel agent, a mentor, just so much more. And I don't want to give too much away because I know that she will definitely go into that. She is an incredible woman of God, and we'll tap into her faith journey. And she marries faith with business because she calls God her CEO, and we'll definitely ask her, what do you mean by that, Sasha? But without further ado, purpose seekers around the globe, please help me to welcome Sasha-Gaye to the Soul into Purpose podcast. Hi, Sasha-Gaye, how are you?
Hi, Akilia. I am great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome sauce. And I know that you are the certified travel lady because she plans trips and all these wonderful things. Travel is the in thing. Nobody wants to be locked down. Coffee asks us, where will we go when the quarantine thing done? And quarantine done long time. So we want to explore the world. But if you were to go anywhere right this moment, where would you go to? And what would you put in your bag? Let us know.
I would go to Greece and I'll be putting a swimsuit and a camera in my bag.
So she is ready to travel. She's going across the globe because we're in Jamaica for those who are listening and watching us, Purpose Seekers. And thank you for sharing that with us, Sasha-Gaye. You are so much more, especially when it comes to your credentials and qualification and all of your accolades. But we just want to take it back a little bit before you became all of these wonderful gems. Who was Sasha-Gaye growing up in the Garrison in Kingston? Tell us about your background.
As you rightly said, I did grow up in a Garrison community, and while there, I was always on the outside. So a lot of the times when persons would ask me, how am I doing? Because sometimes they would hear like a flare up on the news and they would say, I hear that such and such is happening in your area. Is all is well? And most of the times when they call, I'm actually not at home because I spent most of my times outside of home. For obvious reasons, because it's not really such a pleasant community. So I always tried to seek better, and I think that's why the love of traveling came forth. I remember even one day when I had my clothes on, ready to go, and as I reached the gate, I started hearing gunshots. And it was a place that I've always wanted to go, and I was so disappointed on that day. Usually it's like that was a usual thing to happen sometimes, living where I lived. But on that day, I just broke down and I said, no, I cannot continue living my life like this because I want to be out and about. I don't like to be restricted. I don't like to be confined, and living there, it felt like a restriction. And so I was always an adventure seeker, always wanting more, always wanting to level up. And so I think that would sum up who I was as a child. I respected everyone in my community, and everyone respected me and my family. But in terms of up and about in the community, definitely that was not me. They would always see me going and coming, going and coming.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned your environments being restricted, having this level of curiosity for more. But even though you were out and about, up and down, the environment also fueled something within you to level up. And somehow you would have seen the need to become more than your environment. What was that pivotal moment for you, and how did you make that particular transition?
There wasn't actually a set pivotal moment for me, to be honest, Akilia. However, I just know that I didn't want to fit in the status quo. So, the status quo of females in a inner city community, I guess, have children or be in a relationship with someone in the area. I didn't see living there as my end. I didn't see any hope. And I always, as I said, just wanted more. And wherever I noticed that with my family, the schools that they allowed me to attend, it wasn't in the area either. They allowed me to go to schools outside of that area, and I appreciate them for that. I remember one early morning when I was coming back from UWI, because I attended UA, and I did an all-nighter studying. And when I was coming back in the early morning, say it was like 5 a.m., and just before I reached my community, the taxi that I was in, he was saying to me that, why you no want to stop block up the road? And I felt that I was offended and insulted, and I said, sir, it's where you picked me up from. You picked me up from UWI. So obviously I was not the one out here blocking the road. And I was so upset on that day, and I said, no longer do I want to be associated with status quos like this. I mean, people see you as a female and they automatically make certain assumptions based on your address, or certain assumptions based on your complexion even, or where it is that you live. There's a lot of assumptions, and I just didn't want to fit into that category. As I said to you earlier, I don't like boxes. I don't like to be restricted or to have someone standardize me. I'm always a unique individual, and I seek unique ways, and I seek new places at all times.
In the Caribbean context, and I'm sure in other places, we're aware that classism and racism, these are real social issues that we have. And we have, should I say, a reggae or slash dancehall artist, Itana. She sang Wrong Address, which essentially speaks about persons who are from a particular area, and you are limited in society because persons frown upon you, as Sasha-Gaye was rightfully mentioning, and they make certain assumptions and assertions about you which are not necessarily true, because just because you are from a particular environment, yes, you may have been impacted by it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all of that environment is in you, because there are persons there just like her parents who wanted better for her and wanted to shift her from where she was. And so that is a real challenge that I'm sure Sasha-Gaye would have had to deal with at some particular point in time, but it's also something that exists today. And I just want to implore those who are listening and watching, persons are more than their environment, and persons, they don't have any choice. That's where they were raised, we could do better at a particular point in time. And so many persons, so many promising and powerful stories have come from areas that are seen less than. So don't let that, be a hindrance when it comes to how we socialize with others who we believe may be from that particular area. But as you were doing that, and you mentioned that you were at UWI, you did some studies, and for those who are listening, that's UWI Mona campus here in Jamaica. and you wear many hats: marine biology graduate, banking professional, travel business owner, and so much more. But I don't want you to touch the travel just yet. Just tell us about the other facets that you were into before you went into travel.
Well, every summer I was a part of the National Youth Service Program, and so I did my summer work starting at, I believe, 16 that they allowed you to start. So I did, it was like a 6 weeks. I know I spent one at the Bellevue Hospital. I spent one at Clancarty High School. Even worked as a security officer at UWI. I was in sales for a publishing company called Everything Learning. That was like my first real job, quote unquote. At that job, I was doing sales as well as some administrative work where we went to different schools and sell puzzle books. So I guess some persons will know me from that. I sold GSAT puzzle books as well as some career books. And then after I left that, I went to hardware and lumber, and I worked as a dispatcher. And after hardware and lumber, I did, 2 weeks at a call center by Portmore. And reaching banking. Banking is where I spent the majority of my career, or working experience, I should say, 13 years. And during banking, I started travel.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And as you tap into banking, I'm just going to puzzle your brain a little bit. So we're going to test our purpose seekers. Just give us maybe 2 or 3 key banking tips for those who are watching, something that's applicable whether regionally or internationally.
Well, I started banking not for passion, not for love. I used it as a starting ground to study while working. They had afforded me to work part-time, and so I appreciated the part-time offer. Banking is all about networking, all about customer service, and so it really helped me in how to deal with people management skills, helped me with finances, and definitely with networking. That was the best part of banking for me, just meeting new people, interacting with the leaders in the country and even international persons. You can learn from people just by, I guess, a conversation or even how they do their finances. So I have learned so much from persons just by working in the bank, formed good connections, formed good network, got some friends as well. And so it's a good starting ground. I would definitely say that. It's a great starting ground, but it really wasn't for me.
Understood. And thank you for sharing that. And you mentioned that the Lord is your CEO. But before we even touch that, you are a woman of faith. And you shared an interesting story to say that the day that you just thought about, forget about this Christian thing, was actually the day that you gave your life to the Lord. You've been saved for 19 years now. Tell us about your journey and the important role that faith has played in your becoming.
Where I went to church was in Western Kingston. So persons on the international level, that was the Tivoli incursion. So that's where my church is. My church is right in the middle of a garrison community as well. And my aunt and my mom used to force me to go to church. I didn't want to go to church. And I love dressing up. I love looking good, right? And where I used to walk through the market to go to church. And the market is not a clean, or what is the word? It doesn't smell good either. And it disturbed me to be, in my Sunday best and be walking through the market. And I usually detest the fish market as well, because, the fish smell is high. And I was so upset, and I said, I'm going to stop coming to this church. Once I turn 18, you can't force me to come here anymore. I don't have to walk through this market. I don't have to go through all of this anymore. And it was that year that I became 18 when I said, yes, I can make my own decision. That was the year where, the Lord really spoke to my soul, and I said, I am going to become a member of the church. The church has groomed me from I was 10, going to Sunday school, going to my Sunday worship. And from time to time, while you're in church, the Lord touch you and the Lord speak to you. You'll get a lot of speakers, and they have poured into us. And so I made that decision to be baptized at 18. And I laughed at it, and I'm saying, look at it. I wanted to leave, but I've now made it my home, and I have no regrets.
Awesome. And that's a powerful story of transformation, because definitely giving him our yes is where it starts, where he gives us his best. So that's definitely the best decision that we can make. And as you go through life, we need faith, but there's also another aspect where we're tapping into purpose. At this stage of your life, can you tell us, what does purpose mean to you?
Most of my life, people would say to me, Sasha, you don't know what you want to be. You don't have an aim. You don't have a goal. I was just working for money, Akeelia. I kid you not. Because I did not have that particular thing that I loved. That was the only envy that I had of persons who knew where they were going, knew what they wanted to become. And every year I used to change. From primary school, when they have career days at school, every year I changed my career. Even when I got older, it didn't make a difference. I just wanted to, do everything. And I think that's why you see me having so many hats. As you said, I am well-rounded, because that was what they taught us at my high school. They told me that if it is that you don't know what it is that you want to be, it's best to go into the sciences, because the sciences has a whole lot of options, and that's why I chose the sciences. Another point was, they told me, so what is it that you like to do? I said, well, I like to eat. And I said, okay, let's go in food chemistry. And so I went to the UWI to actually study food chemistry. That was the aim, to be a food tester. But chemistry did not like me, and so I failed. I failed my entire year. That was the first major fail for me. I was always an excellent student, always getting good grades. And when I went to UA, it surprised me. I got some negative 3%. And I'm saying, this exists? I failed from the entire year, and I've never experienced that before. And I didn't even want to go back, because why would you want to go to a place that calls you a failure? But I said, all right, let's brush off and try again. Brush off, went into biology, and it was actually environmental biology I went after, because I like nature, love exploring. So I said, all right, try environmental biology. Would you believe I failed again the entire year? I said, oh my God. And I stopped going to school. During my break, I encountered one of my teachers from my high school, and she was asking me, what am I doing now? And I told her, well, I was at UA, but I'm on a break right now. And she's saying, so you plan to go back? And I said, to be honest, it didn't cross my mind. And she said, yes, you should go back. Whatever you start, aim to finish. And I was explaining to her, the failures, it's hard. And she says that, yes, we have to fail at times, but we must learn from our failures, pick up ourselves and go again. And so I said, let me pick up myself a third time. And I said to God, it was that time, I said, God, if I take up back myself and go back to UE, just know it's you going to UE, not me. So God being my boss actually started from those days. And I said, every exam that I'm doing, God, you are the one sitting it. Every test, it's you. I do not want to be wasting any more money. I don't have it. And so if you allow me to get accepted back into UWI, then I know it's a sign that I'm supposed to go back. Because when I left, I didn't write any letter. I didn't tell them I was taking a break. I just stopped going. And so I said, all right, when I write them this letter now, if it is that they say, okay, come back, then I say, God, it's you. And so when I got accepted back, I said, okay, God, so we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And that's how I went into marine biology. It was a fun degree, I'll tell you that. I loved being out at sea, loved learning marine life. You know, while I was at work and I left early to go out at sea, or sometimes I was at sea in the morning. And when I come back at work, I am so dark in complexion because, you know, the sun. So you get darker. But it was a fun degree. And when I was finished, I was just saying, wow, eventually, finally. And I was just so happy about it. To be honest, I don't even remember the question that you asked, Akilia. But did I answer the question?
I'm just listening to your story and just being fascinated because as you were talking about your failures, and then as you know, I have my upcoming book, A Fall from Grace, which essentially speaks to losses. And we just want to cap that together. But when we're talking about failure, losses, and just the unfortunate events that happens in our life, and then you said that you spoke to God. You told him, Lord, if this is you, you know, you will reveal yourself, and then I will take the next step to go forward. For someone, Sasha-Gaye, who is out there and they're at that pivotal point in time, they failed multiple times, and the word says that David encouraged himself in the Lord. But really and truly, sometimes we just need somebody to speak a word, to speak life into us. What would you say to somebody who is at that crossroads? Somebody saw you, somebody spoke to you, and God confirmed it. So I'm giving you the opportunity now to speak to somebody who's at that crossroads.
It was actually one of my church brothers that was a part of my district. We didn't go to the same church, but we are a part of the same district of churches. And I saw him up at UE and I was asking him, how are you? All is well? And, you know, he was high-spirited. He's always, you know, have a positive attitude. And I was just sharing with him how frustrated I was about the whole process of being at university and what was happening to me. And when he shared with me that he too failed twice, I was shocked because I thought I was alone. I thought I must have been the most stupidest person in this world. What I would encourage someone is to talk to someone. You know, sometimes we keep everything bottled up. Sometimes we don't share what we are going through. And I myself, I'm guilty of it. I'm not gonna go around and pretend that I tell everybody everything about my life. No, I don't. But what I've learned throughout the years is that people can actually help you if you actually go out and seek help from people. And that's what I would share, because when I share that story to persons that I failed twice for the entire year, they were in shock and they said, I can't believe that I failed. And I said, yes, not even once, but twice. But failure taught me so much, Akilia. Failure built my character. Every great success story out there, they will tell you that failure is not the end. And it's like they say you learn so much from failing. And it's true. It is so true. And I will say, as I said, dust yourself off and go back at it again. You will never know what will come from your story. You'll never know who you can help just by doing that, just dusting yourself off and get back out there again. That's what I did. That's what I've been doing all of my life. And I don't see myself as being any worse than anyone else. And so you too can do the same. Don't let this be the full stop. Don't let it be period. No. There is always more. And there is always greater. And there is always a lesson in your failures as well. So that's what I would tell people.
Awesome sauce. There's always great to tap into your greatness. Dust yourself off. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. And maybe if you're going again for the third time, try with God. Because if we have Him in the vessel, with Christ in the vessel, we can smile at the storm. One of your mantra, Sasha-Gaye, is that we're not here just to survive. We're here to thrive. How does that come about, and what does that mean to you in your daily life?
Well, that came about since I have been on my purpose journey, and I've been on my purpose journey since late 2024 to 2025. I decided that I no longer want to just work for money. I no longer just want to pay bills. I want to make an impact. I want to know why I am here on earth. What is my purpose? So all along, I was just going with the flow, just working for working's sake. And especially after COVID, it was all about survival. And so when I decided to say no more, Sasha, you need to know, make your mark in this world. You need to know, be doing things that actually bring you joy. And I said, but what am I gonna do at this stage in my life? I mean, when I was younger, I didn't know what I wanted to do. What am I gonna do now? And then I said, I have to do something different. I have to try a different way, because I can't continue the same way, and it doesn't make sense to try the same routine or the same method to get something different. It doesn't make any sense. It's actually insanity. And so I sought out a purpose coach. I was actually listening to Women's Summit, a virtual Women's Summit, and a purpose coach came on, our very close colleague. That's how both of us met, Akilia, Dr. Vicky Otaruina, and I really want to shout her out because she changed my life. Once I heard her speaking, the Lord actually said, this is the lady that is going to help you. I kid you not. And I reached out to her and I said, I need help. I need help to know what is my purpose. And when we did our sessions, a lot of things came out of it. A lot of revelations came out of it, and I'm just so happy. And it was through those sessions and through me being on my purpose journey now, doing the things that I love to do, doing the things that make me happy, and doing the things that I feel are making an impact. Because one of the things that was revealed to me when I was leaving my job is that I was actually making an impact there, but I didn't see it, because I just felt like I was wasting my time. I felt like I was wasting my talents. But when they were sharing with me, they have the little send-off parties, and when they were sharing with me how I impacted their life, I mean, tears came to my eyes. And I was telling them that, wow, I didn't know that so many of you were actually looking up to me. I didn't know that I was making a difference. And I'm just so happy for all of you. And really and truly, what Dr. Vicky had taught me is that we knew our purpose all along. It's just that we weren't tapping into it. And so what I was doing all along, leading people, training people, helping people, supporting people, it's actually along the line of my purpose. So I was doing it all along, Akilia, but you just didn't see it, and
Coming together now.
yes, it's all coming together now. All coming together. And then even being in travel, once you start traveling, you don't ever want to stop traveling. I mean, you are you are exposed to different cultures, different people, and you hear from people how they're living their best life. It's just an amazing journey. And so when I started traveling, I'm like, whoa, we are definitely not here to just pay bills on earth. God did not put us here to just survive. God placed us here to have a thriving life. God placed us here to do so much more. God placed us here to be at the very top. at the very top. So if it is that you see your life, you're just paying bills, living paycheck to paycheck, just taking care of the kids or just taking care of the family, that's not it. God wants us to live a more fulfilled life. If at the end of the day you can say, well, today was a great day. Today I am pleased. Today I felt like I achieved what I was set out to achieve. If you feel satisfied within yourself with that, fine. That's fine. But so as long as you are happy and not just in survival mode, make sure that whatever you're doing, you are thriving at it and you are making steps to be better at what you are doing. Every year, it's an opportunity for you to be better.
Absolutely. We're living up, and as you mentioned, the level of freedom that travel gives you. And throughout of that experience, you curated a travel journal. Tell us about that travel journal and the intended audience. Who are we helping with this? I know that we mentioned that we have that level of cultural exchange, but for somebody who may not be so, tell us, Sasha-Gaye, what has travel done for you? Tell us about the journal and how this can be very impactful in our lives.
So travel opens doors of possibilities. And the travel journal, it's not only for persons who travel a lot. It's not only for persons who go on an airline every month or twice per year. You can travel wherever you are located. And so in the very country that you live, you can just decide to take a trip. And wherever you decide to go, I am sure that you will learn something from being in that environment. I'm sure you learn something from the people that you see in that environment. As a young girl, always on the go. And so my spots were a river, because Jamaica is filled with rivers. So I used to love going to the rivers, or I would go by the waterfront, by the harbor in downtown. And those were my spots. And whenever I went to my spots, I just call it my spots, but I know, it doesn't belong to me. But whenever I went to my spots,
I know the Kingstonians are looking at you sideways like we all go.
Yes. Whenever I went to my spots, I learned something else about myself. I learned a new characteristic. I knew I could pinpoint my likes and my dislikes. I could pinpoint who it is that I'm more gravitated towards and what I should avoid or what I should go into, because I'm just looking at nature. I'm just looking at God. Whenever I travel to the countryside, go to the river, it makes my problems small. That's why I like nature, Akila, because whenever I go out to look at sea and I see that there is no end to this sea, it makes my problems just look very small. I said, oh my God, you are so awesome that you can create a sea that no man can find the end. No man can find the bottom of the sea.
So far to come.
And no man can see the end of the sea. When you look in the sky, there is no end either. And that's why I love traveling and going out and seeing different skies, seeing different oceans, talking to different people. You learn a lot. Trust me, you learn a lot. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything to people, but you can learn from how they're expressing themselves, what makes them happy. And sometimes when you see them having fun, you say, oh, I'm going to try that. Yeah, I'm going to try that. And sometimes when you try it, you say, this is not for me, not at all. And so that's why I created the travel journal. Have it right beside of me. Here it is. Because I want you to discover yourself through traveling. So this is the perfect travel companion for you. Wherever it is that you're going, if it is that you're unsure of who you are, this journal will definitely help you to create your identity or reform your identity. Because sometimes in life, Akeelia, we get lost and we don't know who we are anymore. That happened to me actually in my years during banking. I lost myself. I changed completely. I couldn't even recognize myself. I didn't know what made me happy anymore. And I had to go back to journaling. Everyone that journal can tell you that journaling helps. And so this travel journal will definitely help you to form an identity. If you're young and you don't know exactly who you are as yet, or if you're older and you got lost along the way, this travel journal will definitely help you to recreate that identity. And it's a travel journal, so it will definitely encourage you to travel more. It will definitely inspire you to want to go on trips and want to live that best life, that thriving life that I was talking about earlier.
Absolutely. And for me, that thriving life is, being rich out on a private island somewhere. But for those who are in Kingston, we can go to, well, I don't know if it's the thing now, but Jack Sale or Red Hills, and you're having that night view in over the city. That's beautiful. And then she mentioned the waterfront. It's so soothing. If you're in St. Anne, like myself, we can always go out on the North Coast, or you don't have to go into the water. Go on one of the free beach for me. Whenever we see just the stillness of the sea and you just feel the sand grains, it takes it to another level, and it definitely helps you to relax. And as Sasha-Gaye rightfully mentioned, take you into another dimension. But you spoke about being lost and losing yourself. But Sasha-Gaye, we don't want the people to lose you, So tell us where we can find you, please. Where can we find your book, and how can we connect with you? You're a master coach as well. If you have spots that are open, how can persons connect with you?
Okay, so you can get me via WhatsApp at 1-876-844-2624. That's my business number for the travel business that I have called SGMF Travel Services. Also on Facebook and on Instagram at SGMF Travel. You can reach out to me via email at sgmftravels@gmail.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's where Akili and I also connected. And on LinkedIn, it's my name, Sasha-Gaye McTaggart-Francis. You can find my book on Amazon. It's on Amazon paperback as well as Kindle. And so once you reach out to me, I will definitely respond.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And for those who are listening and watching, have no fear, because we'll definitely have that information on screen for those who are watching us on YouTube, as well as in the comment section. So don't worry about it. Well, Sasha-Gaye, can you just kind of share with us your final parting words to the purpose seekers across the globe?
My final parting words. Do not try the same thing hoping to get different results. Those are my parting words. You have to do something different. You have to elevate. You have to go for what you want. And the key is to never give up. That is what makes the difference between someone that's successful and someone who is not. The difference is never give up. Keep on going, keep on traveling, and thrive.
Awesome. So we're thriving, we're traveling, we are building that momentum, not giving up, going into those special moments or key spots whenever we have a sense of loss, or maybe we want to tap into it. It's always good for us to speak with somebody, because we never know who can give us that level of affirmation and can point us into the direction of our purpose. We have some wonderful mentors, those who have gone ahead of us. They have the knowledge and the requisite skills, and sometimes all it takes is just one session with Sasha-Gaye, myself, or even with Dr. Vicky. Shout out to Dr. Vicky, we'll definitely have her on, just to unlock your purpose. Because if you're not living in purpose, then what are we really doing? We're passing time. And so we want to ensure that we're living meaningful lives, and not just for ourselves, but that we are creating impact and greater value to those who are around us. Some powerful gems today right here from our very special guest, Mrs. Sasha-Gaye McTaggart-Francis. And we thank you so much for coming, Sasha-Gaye. For those who wish to connect with us here for season 5, right here on the Soul into Purpose podcast, all you have to do is to follow us on all major platforms at Soul into Purpose. So that is SOULED into Purpose on all major audio platforms, on all social media platforms. And if you want to follow me, you may do so at Akeelia Thompson, that is AKEELIA Thompson, across all socials. So, purpose seekers, remember that it is not the beginning, but it is the continuing to the end until it is faithfully, purposefully, wholesomely, and wonderfully accomplished. I'm your incredible host, Akeelia Thompson, and until next time, see you soon. If you are out there, you're an author and you wish to advertise your books, or perhaps you wish to partner with this vision, all you have to do is to reach out to us. The information is provided on your screen. So please scan the QR code or send us a message, send us a WhatsApp message, and we'll be happy to share your brand with our community, as well as to see how we can collaborate on different ventures. We appreciate your support. If you are out there and you wish to partner with us to share the vision across the globe, please feel free to visit our website at Sold Into Purpose, that is SOULED into purpose.com, as well as you may scan the QR codes that are presented on your screen. Feel free to also use the donation buttons and forms on our website, and we have our show link. Feel free to click that link and show us your support. We appreciate all that you do for the show, and we will continue to be sold into purpose. Hi there, purpose seekers. You know that we believe in holistic development right here on the Soul into Purpose podcast. So if you're out there and you need any form of digital services, or perhaps you wish to become a thought leader on LinkedIn, all you have to do is to connect with me at soulintoPurpose@gmail.com, or you may send me an email at awesomepres, so that is awesome, PREZ@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you with your website development, social media management, LinkedIn management, the whole 9 yards. So please feel free to reach out and we will provide you with quality services. The Sold into Purpose podcast is brought to you by Awesome Press, creating digital solutions just for you, inspirational media creations, creating quality productions, elevated events by Keels, and your favorite creative entrepreneur.
It's time for soul stories.